house.
We are live, people. Welcome to episode
Zelda.
8.
Zelda.
This show not brought to you by Nintendo. Just the fact that you held up a Nintendo Switch on camera means that Nintendo will now request kindly all of the advertising revenue from this video.
Yep, exactly. Could you please turn the volume down so I don't get pinged?
Dude, you've already been tagged.
Oh, they tag you quick. When I created the channel and uploaded some video for
The Switch?
the stream I did for Breath of the Wild last night, they already nailed me quicker than like you can imagine.
I'm sure they can. Anyway, guys, we have our usual cast of characters. Starting off with Mr. Juan Bagnell coming back from MWC Barcelona. How's it going, man?
It's good. I'm still not quite acclimated to this time zone yet, but I'm feeling better. We're feeling strong. Let's do this.
All right. Next up is Mr. Warren Boom, who is busy playing Zelda Breath of the Wild right now on his Switch because he has nothing else better to do.
Nope.
Okay. And finally, Mr. Black Iron _man, who probably is still playing with his Switch or it's docked by his TV. We don't know yet. How's it going, Sam?
It's doing both.
No audio.
Nothing new for Sam.
Oh,
I'm not even going to address that. Did you guys get the notification when you log into Firefox that Firefox, that Google's no longer going to, the Hangout's no longer going to work?
Firefox is radically changing up how they're doing plugins.
Yeah, no more plugins. Yeah. All right. That's kind of odd.
yeah. We're gonna have to.
I guess I'll just go to Edge then.
Edge does not support it.
Actually, Edge does support plugins, but Google Hangouts doesn't have a plugin for Edge.
Yes. Yeah.
I gotta say, I really like Edge when I'm just sort of doing tablet-y things, like touchscreen and stuff. But it means I'll probably get sucked back into Chrome.
I had to use Chrome.
The thing is, Edge is actually pretty good. But the problem I have with
you're saying Microsoft products are good.
The problem I have with all the other products is that Firefox now has an issue with Adobe that it makes you go through this whole rigmarole to get Flash working. Yeah. Even Chrome hangs up on Flash sometimes. Yeah. So Edge is the only one that handles it properly. So I find myself on the Edge.
I wonder if I could finally just do away with Flash.
I thought everyone was supposed to adopt HTML5 by now. Well, apparently the adoption rate is very low.
No. There's some things that are doing it. So a lot of sites have to change what they do around. So Flash has to exist for a little while longer. But the big death knell is when YouTube switched to it.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much been the end of it since then. It's been going through a slow death at that point, from that point forward.
Although I find in the YouTube the YouTube content creator tools, it still seems like a few of their card interface or annotation interface stuff still requires Flash. So that might be kind of a bummer there. But I wonder if I just wiped out one of my browsers and didn't install any plugins, how far could I get into the internet before I ran into a roadblock?
Yeah. All right, let's kick things off. Any uselessness for this week? I didn't put anything down. Does anyone have one?
I mean, it's political, but really strange Twitter rant from Trump that Obama had been wiretapping his hotel is up.
You guys want to touch that?
No. Let us know.
Because we already talked about that this morning, and you know my feelings on that. Let's not get that started. Then
we're not going into those realms at all. You've stated it. That's fine. If anybody has a uselessness in there,
sorry, that's my kettle. I have to go get my tea. 1 second.
All right. Feel free. I said feel free. All right, let's go ahead and just kick.
We don't need any Cree messing things up, man.
I know, right? Let's
New York and shit.
Let's go ahead and talk about MWC, which just wrapped up this week. A bunch of announcements in there, new smartphones, things like that. This is kind of a wrap up, so I'm just going to touch on, ask you guys the devices that you liked, what you saw, and just give me your own general feel. So I'll start off with, I was trying to get Alex on, but he said he was completely, wiped, lazy,
lame.
Dad. So I'll start off with you, Juan. You were there at MWC.
Oh, are we over with uselessness yet? Because I have a uselessness.
Please.
At the tea kettle, you found one.
Oh, no. This was the uselessness I was actually going to mention. But the Switch actually might be my uselessness of the day, man, or at least of the. No, let's be realistic here. I was going online looking for decals for the Switch just because, right? And then I run into this article, and I just read it right before I got here. So maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But reportedly, if you put decals on the Switch, you actually damage the coating on the Joy-Cons and also on the device itself. So it looks as though whatever coating that Nintendo is using on that doesn't actually, doesn't withstand adhesives. So that's kind of odd for a lot of people who want to customize a device.
Because Deep Brands just had to come out with a Reddit post saying not to buy their skins because of it.
Yeah, I saw that one.
That is just useless.
So that's for a device that everyone's been waiting for. And we all know how people like to customize stuff when it comes to their gaming. That's a little useless from me.
Oh yeah, let me add another one on the Switch uselessness here. I mean, besides the fact that I don't have mine yet, I don't see anything about my TV right now. But I put that shit down. Why does Nintendo still have friend codes in that?
Oh my God, that.
Yes, tell me why.
Friend codes. I don't want to be your damn friend. I just want to own you.
After all they said in their press event and all that there will be no friend codes. I mean, friend codes is still the way. I mean, they're saying that there will be other ways to add people, kind of like PS4 and Xbox One, where you just use your username. Why Nintendo? I mean, I can understand if friend codes because you had the old system and you wanted to transfer people over, but you don't give people the opportunity to just say, hey, I'm going to add Black_man. I'm going to add some gadget guy. I'm going to add
The answer to that is
it's a hot bag of no.
That the Nintendo Switch is not a finalized, or should I say the software hasn't even been really finalized. We had a day one update. We're going to have another update later on in the year. Nintendo is trying to placate people by giving them free online services until fall of this year, just because they're not providing any of the apps that we're used to. They're not providing.
There's no Netflix?
There's no Netflix.
Oh, come on.
Well, at least they're providing something instead of like Sony and PS4 who just put their shit out and don't even give a damn. Just like when the PS4 and both the PS4 and Xbox One released, they couldn't play seasons.
No. So I guess the point I was trying to get across was the friend codes will probably change later on down the line with some kind of software updates. But just keep in mind when you buy the Switch that it's not a finalized software yet that you're running on there, because there are a lot of updates that are coming.
Rubbish. All right, let's move back to MWC. Juan, now you can go ahead and since you were there, give us your highlights of devices you like, things you saw that were interesting, and please don't mention Sony because we talked about one yesterday.
Yeah, you were kind enough to join us on the Pocket Now podcast, which we still haven't managed to publish yet. So the show was an interesting one. Well, no. We explained this in the podcast. Like we walked away from Hangouts this week, and we're trying to find other solutions. And of course, it still kind of blew up in our face, but hopefully we'll end up with a higher quality show out of it. Well, it's such a mess.
On that note, before you jump in, try a TriCaster and tell me how that works for you. I'm just curious.
Try a TriCaster?
Yeah, or if you guys are looking at a TriCaster, tell me what the whole.
Oh yeah, I mean, so right now we're just trying to find out like what data backend before we throw hardware in front of that pipe.
Oh yeah, okay.
But that's definitely something that I want to move to. Right now, like the jury rigging between different audio mixers, the capture cards, Elgatos, and things like that. We kind of just need to consolidate that all into one proper deck. Okay. So MWC was an interesting show. It not having a strong showing from HTC, Microsoft's booth essentially just being no, not really. I mean, I got PR invites for their Vive setup, so you could schedule some time
solution.
Some Vive. But even like the U Ultra was really scarce. It wasn't really there to be seen. And then Microsoft's booth was essentially just a meeting area. So if you walked past the Nokia booth and you saw the little Microsoft booth, it was basically just there for appointments and invites. So really this kind of became, for us, it kind of became the showdown between the Huawei P10 and the LG G6. And I think those were probably the two hottest phones in terms of our overall viewership. And then for me personally, it's just kind of fun because it's basically bringing Mate 9 and V20 features into smaller form factors. So the G6 and the P10. We're gonna have a ton of coverage on Pocket Now. We'll be doing all of our reviews and stuff. But those were probably the highlights. One other little thing that we didn't talk about in the Pocket Now podcast was the international release for the LG Tone Studio. So I've been playing with these for a couple days now too, and a very interesting take on sort of a personal wearable audio. I need to stop saying interesting. I'm doing it again, aren't I?
Yes.
Even from the podcast. So a unique take on personal wearable
Just to let
audio.
you guys know, Juan used the word interesting about literally 57 times yesterday.
If we do a Pocket Now drinking game and we turn interesting into one of the trigger words, I think you'll all be dead within the first half hour.
Actually, this is what you all should do when you listen to the Pocket Now Weekly from this past week. Have a bottle of tequila and start taking shots anytime he says
and
bad idea.
Within 15 minutes, you'll be out of commission. So,
and please don't forget to send your medical bills for alcohol poisoning to Booredatwork.com.
So I'm going to spend a little time playing with these. I think they're like I said, it's a unique experience for sort of walking around with a little cloud of audio around your head. And then when you want to be discreet, they still have the little earbuds that pop out. So I think LG is onto something interesting because we keep talking about wearable computing, wearables, things like that. And kind of like, headphones were the original sort of wearable technology, something that you would actually put on your person and would become something of a fashion statement. So anything that we can do to kind of shake that up in this day and age as we're getting rid of headphone jacks, I think will be valuable to people out there.
Okay. So that's your summary of MWC.
Yeah,
well, those are the tops. I mean, there were a lot of other things there. I thought it was disgusting that the Nokia 3310 kind of stole the show for the media. It just kind of shows us where we're at with smartphones, how exciting smartphones are when a dumb phone can hijack a show as big as MWC.
Did you get your hands on that phone? Because I actually went to ask you a question about that. The 3310.
I mean, I got to play with one. I didn't.
It's not really a dumb phone, is it? You can get online with that phone, can't you?
It's a feature phone.
It's a feature.
It's a feature phone, but to call it a dumb.
I have a Nokia 3510, which has a browser built into it. As soon as any of those phones started having 3G data connections, they would include little Java browsers and bullshit like that. But they're not smartphones. They're not.
So I take it the online experience was kind of crappy?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's not designed for that. It's a 40 euro phone or 50 euro phone. I can't remember.
Did you guys see that it only covers 2 bandwidths, 919?
So it's not coming to the US.
They weren't playing with us at all because of that. Well, but that also
it does exist for drug dealers. Good job.
Yeah.
No, for international drug dealers.
No. That's what the BlackBerry Key 1 is going to be for. Is getting your drug dealer back on a good BlackBerry again. So I mean, this is Nokia's. This is Nokia's big problem is they're going back to a Euro-Asia centric release strategy. They're going to ignore North America. They're going to ignore a huge chunk of press that was actually kind of emboldened by the Lumia days. You wanted to play that nostalgia game. People were picking up Lumias and remembering Nokia fondly. They'd made some inroads, and then they're just going back to, we're not going to support US bands. We're not going to support North America, and they're going to be irrelevant again. And so this strategy, I think, is going to hobble them out of the gate until they decide whether or not they want to have more global products.
The 3, 5, and 6 were pretty interesting, and I like the naming. What is it? 3, 5, 3, 5, 6. That's actually a pretty cool name.
Did they actually have a 6 on display there?
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
it's just they're interesting, pure Android devices that could maybe challenge Google if they, on the Pixel.
No, it's not
alternative. If they actually let me finish. If they,
you're still playing Zelda, so focus.
If they actually try,
focus on the webcam.
I can
focus on the webcam. Focus on the webcam.
I can do both. I can multitask. I'm like you. Multitask.
Are you sure? Are you sure? Because I'm cutting you and you still can't continue.
Yes, I can continue.
Focus on the webcam. Focus on the webcam.
Actually, a chance for
focus on the webcam. Sorry.
Hey, come on. Pure Android. They can release on pure Android to be good.
Yeah.
I don't think it's now. It's like an alternative, a cheaper alternative to a Pixel, not necessarily an actual competitor directly to it, but that's something that they could make a competitor to and a compelling argument to compete against if they take it seriously in the United States, because Nokia is still a name that's recognized here, but it's all dependent upon how serious they want to take it.
But don't forget that Nokia's main market wasn't really the US. Nokia's main market has always been the international market.
Yeah. But also, I mean, we're out of that age where it's okay to have a phone that doesn't support bands in the United States.
Well,
you know,
true.
like if you're traveling with a Nokia phone and it doesn't work in North America, but I'm traveling with like a Moto G and it works everywhere in the world, that's not a good place for them.
But to your point, that Nokia's main market was the international market. Huawei's main market is China. Yet their phones support bandwidth over here. And they do a push here. So
the point I was trying to make is that Nokia is starting off by appeasing its bigger market first, right? They come out with a phone that basically is that gives you that nostalgia factor. Now, then they come out with a phone that's a pure Android phone, or almost a pure Android phone, and they want to give people that Android experience on a Nokia device. So it's kind of like an introduction back to find Nokia again.
Support all bands. It's not that hard.
No, true. They should support all bands. I'm not saying they shouldn't, but I think they want to target the market they originally were big in and they've been known for, which is like Europe and Asia. They've been big in those markets for a very long time, and this is their reintroduction into that market. And I think I'll just put it this way: within the next, if Nokia does it right, within the next 12 months, they can become a player again. And I'm actually kind of giddy to find out.
I mean, if they do it right is the right keyword, and they haven't, and I don't think they will, because they just undercut their own buzz. When we all saw the 3310, everyone was like, great feature phone you can pick up for your kids. It's $50, fine, fantastic. 2 days later, it doesn't work in the US. Done. Close. Never mind. Forget it. Just move on. Blue still wins.
Shut it down.
Here comes the Nokia 3, 5, and 6. Oh snap! They're back with 3 phones. Not coming to America. And moving on.
Yeah, I mean that's just all it is. So
and then Sony buys Nokia and keeps doing the same thing.
Oh, it's
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
We're going to talk about Sony. We can talk about Sony.
So Sony. Okay, I will start off. Sony announced a product that sounded.
They announced something.
A killer device. If you look at the specs, it's got a 4K display.
Let's get to the point because it's a Sony.
All that stuff. You couldn't play with the software because it was alpha, according to what you stated.
It was really alpha. We did. They asked us not to.
Software alpha.
No. It's not like Android was perfectly functional. It wasn't running very well. It wasn't optimized, and then any of the Sony apps, like the Sony camera app, would crash the phone. But they asked us not to even poke at it. So, of course, we had to boot it up and try. But we didn't show it on camera because it really was. I mean, like that's one of those things where it really wouldn't have been fair. This is a product that's not expected to be out until like Q3, Q4.
Exactly. Why announce it now?
Yeah. So I feel like the timing on this discussion is skewed for Sony.
Yeah.
It's a bad move to show something that's not quite even. I'll call it quite alpha at a show like that. People are going to take pictures.
Pre-alpha. Let's call it what it is.
That's kind of crazy.
Like I said yesterday, it's something that should have been announced. At IFA is when you announce and then you release. That's if it's going to be that far down the line.
Yeah, but with MWC, it looks as though a lot of people are pressured into releasing something or announcing something during that time frame, and I think Sony kind of fell into that. It sounds like Sony fell into that trap.
So Sony wasn't completely wrong in the fact that they were actually able, again, absent to Samsung, absent to stronger HTC, Sony was actually able to generate some discussion. We were sitting in the LG pre-brief for the G6, and of course, like everyone had to harp on like the Qualcomm 821. And so someone asks a PR rep at LG, like point blank, why not the 835? When's it going to get the 835? As if they're going to do a refresh on the G6 in the middle of the year. And he goes like, well, no other products have been announced at CES using the 835. And the guy like instantly like snottily is like, oh, the Sony did. Sony announced an 835. Yeah. Sony did. And it was great watching the LG rep take a breath and without breaking eye contact. And when will that phone launch? And you're like, like at the end of the year? Yeah, we're releasing a phone today.
Man.
Video. Why did we not get this video?
The closest I've ever seen a PR rep get to like
that was a professional clapback
backhand, just like right across the cheek, as demoralizing as possible. It was beautiful.
So how many people tried not to laugh? That was media in there during that time.
I was like as much as I could do with like not just bust out loud. It was great.
This is your first MWC, right?
Yeah, this was my first MWC.
So what did you think about interactions with the international press? Right? versus CES when it comes to the press, the attendees there for the press side. Now I'm talking about. Who do you think is more aggressive, the CES guys or the international press's MWC?
You know, the nice thing about MWC is the structure leading up to the show is just way more organized than anything I'd ever seen at a CES. So, you know, for us, we were able to get into a few pre-briefs, a few meetings. And then when we were actually covering a few products from the show floor, like I couldn't get into Moto because of Huawei. I had to cover the G5 from the actual booth. And on that first day where, you know, it's the high energy mob, everything's going crazy. I had such an easier time getting around, working with people, talking to people at the booth, you know, shaking hands. I don't know if it was because, you know, it's not, certainly not because I'm some charming American. no one likes us right now. So I had probably the easiest. It was still busy and hectic, and we're running around like crazy. But from an organizational standpoint, MWC was so much easier to cover than any CES that I've covered ever. So I liked it a lot. And the way that the FIRA is laid out is just so amazingly easy
getting
to
around.
get to.
But I think the press that shows up are mad aggressive. Okay.
Well, but so I mean, like everyone's kind of mob. It's that big energy. I was only on the show floor for the first full day and then half of the second day, and then I ended up flying out a little early. But you have not only so people are more aggressive, but you have real resources to get your shit done.
Oh yeah.
So when you hit one of the media rooms, you have a work bay with working internet and an Ethernet plug, so you can have high speed upload.
Internet and speed test.
Just go to Lenovo.
I was pulling like a 20 or 30 meg up from the press room.
Okay, now because you see everybody has internet connections.
The secret.
No.
MWC internet is go to the Lenovo booth and use the Wi-Fi.
I didn't know that.
That's the
No.
I
have to say their infrastructure was stupid impressive, because even downstairs using the public Wi-Fi, not even the press Wi-Fi, I was probably still pulling like a 5 megabit down, 1 megabit up. I know that sounds crap, but considering the army of people hammering that network, it was still totally usable for getting like Instagram photos up and stuff like that. I was completely impressed, because that's never been for IFA. Nah, fuck off. For CES, like nothing that you can really use. You're on LTE the whole time for CES.
Well, no, CES was a lot better this year than it had been in past years.
It was better,
especially hotel
was
internet was a whole lot better. And you got to go to the Intel booth.
Yeah,
Intel booth,
Qualcomm, Lenovo.
Just that hall. Just go to that hall.
That's hilarious.
Yeah,
but no, I had a really good experience on the show floor this year. Out of all the shows, I think I'll be most excited to go back to an MWC over any IFA or CES.
Somebody just said, LGH Jamota said, Spanish people organizing something well. No, that's something you don't see every day.
From my experience with MWC, and I think also experienced it this year. I think from my experience with MWC, and I think we also experienced it this year with Alex, was MWC, the lead up is pretty organized when it comes to the show itself, like all the shows or the little press conferences you can have or press events you can have. Those are great. But when it comes to registration, that is a cluster.
Yeah, no.
That is a cluster.
Strict. Yeah, that part is still.
It's not even about being stupid strict. It's about being straightforward with your registration. Last time I went, I basically registered, got there, and because they were switching systems or swapping systems, my application got hung up, even though I got a letter saying I was approved.
Who swapped systems in the middle of this?
This year, we had issues with Alex, even though you registered Alex E, right?
Yeah, they said I registered you, Alex, Jose. They said nobody was registered on the team.
They're just like, no.
So it's like 2 years going, and actually, no, let's say that's...
Well, no, they wouldn't say no. What's no in Spanish? They wouldn't say that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. I mean, anyone else? Okay. Sam, from MWC you've seen this week, what caught your attention the most?
I actually went to see if anyone got hands-on, and I've been looking for that. Maybe I'll have to Google it. If anyone got hands-on with Watson and Braggy, because to me that's the next step, man. You know, because Braggy and IBM kind of had this collaboration to where they put Watson on the Braggy headsets, and I'm waiting to see what kind of implementation it was. Just imagine me walking around totally wireless headsets, and you can basically just tap on it and go anything you can do on Amazon Echo, and just do it on a Braggy headset. That would be pretty cool. That's like the future right there. So that was what I really wanted to see, but I didn't get a chance to see it. So I'll have to probably Google it now that everything's dying down.
Okay, Warren, how about you?
For MWC, it was interesting. Like, the main two things were really it was just the Nokia phones that were interesting. I just wish we were in the coming to the US, and then the G6, which we already have. So that's probably the only interesting thing it was about. Other than that, I mean, I heard brief things about Sony during that time, but beyond that, I didn't hear much else from MWC that really caught my attention. It seemed to be pretty quiet this year in terms of really big announcements. Besides Huawei's P10, but that thing never shows up to the US anyway. So
yeah, it'll be, if it does, it'll be like the Mate.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more excited if they announced the Honor Magic's coming to the US than I would the P10. To be perfectly honest.
All right, let's move away from MWC, guys, and moving over to some announcements YouTube made this week, doing, of course, MWC and all the hoopla. YouTube TV is coming. Will cost $35. We'll have 40 channels, including your local channels, so your local network, so you can get local news and stuff like that. We'll include 10 sports channels. It currently excludes CNN and also AMC and some of the Time Warner channels, at least beginning. You will have unlimited cloud DVR, so you can record as much as you want in terms of your shows. We're not sure. I think it's a standalone app. I could be wrong, but I think YouTube TV is a standalone app. You can cast from the app currently. When it launches in the spring, there will be no apps for YouTube TV for, say, your Xbox, your PS4, or your smart TV. So it would just be mobile initially at launch. So
that's not a YouTube thing. That is not a YouTube thing. That is definitely a service provider thing or a content provider.
How come other apps can be on the service?
Because you have to fight. Let's put it this way.
I mean, I know why.
All the apps that are on Xbox, that used to be on Xbox, all the TV apps that used to be on Xbox, right? What's happened to a lot of them between the Xbox 360 and the Xbox One? A lot of them have dropped off and they're not coming back.
Well, that also has a lot to do with Xbox changing architecture, and then also Xbox just basically going back on their entire media push.
Okay, guys,
that's a whole other rant. Don't open that can of worms.
YouTube TV. So I'm going to start off with Juan, who didn't jump into this uncivil discussion that we had. What do you think about YouTube TV itself?
Okay, so we know YouTube at Google is kind of struggling with what YouTube should represent. I don't feel like YouTube Red is really taking the world by storm. I feel they're trying to devalue smaller content creators, and I think they're trying to latch on to bigger studio style production work. And so this might be their strategy to try and encourage more big money players or larger channel players to be considering content for a streaming box style solution. I don't know. I don't know that consumers
advantage already on YouTube.
Well, yeah. I don't know that consumers are really asking for that. It's not like Netflix has to have a dongle that plugs into your TV for you to stream their content. And there are so many other services. I mean, what they're offering isn't too radically different from like a Hulu. You know, I mean, we've all sort of started consuming content in different ways. That the idea of having a cord cutter YouTube powered cable box, I don't know that that's really the killer app right now. I think Google is missing the market on what we like about time shifting and location shifting our content.
They're just doing this because Amazon has something up. That's the only reason they're doing this.
Well,
they have a solution called the Chromecast, so why not implement TV channels on the Chromecast?
That makes sense. Because that makes sense.
I think it sounds like it's a rushed product. However, there's one thing that stands out for YouTube. A lot of people get a lot of content from YouTube, but the one thing that a lot of people also go to YouTube for is for their news clips. Now, if you can get live news on YouTube, that's a big win, because it's really hard for cord cutters out there. There really isn't a go-to spot.
Didn't we have this discussion about having, CNN and the rest of them having their social media, having CNN, YouTube, and it's almost skewed, to that audience.
Whoa! Did YouTube take our idea?
We know that we just free sources of knowledge and information, and I'm getting hungry here, and I need cash, people.
Yeah. Like, look at him, he's skin and bones.
Pay him in Moloko gift cards.
Oh, I don't think. No, I think that's a wasted cat, because I don't think he pays when he goes there anymore. You still pay when you go there? Are you like the official mascot of Moloko's?
That's hilarious.
Surprised he's not in a commercial for them, man. Or running their social media.
No, but I think with YouTube TV, YouTube is looking at the landscape and going, DirecTV, Sling, Hulu's coming out with theirs. We need to jump in. And with YouTube Red, they made the mistake of not focusing on the right kind of moves to make people want to get YouTube Red. So they think, okay, we can shift that with YouTube TV. With everything else that we've seen, the reason why people love Netflix, the reason why HBO succeeded so well, the reason why Amazon is now growing is good original content.
Yeah.
Now, YouTube has the ability to do that because it has so many creators. I'm not just saying you go away from the small guys, but they're also big, medium guys who you can go, you know what? Let us spend time with you, not go and make silly shows that PewDiePie made that was a terrible horror show that was just crap.
I know all those were bad. Every single one of them.
Yeah. There are so many content creators.
They didn't pick the right content creators for that thing at all.
There's so many content creators that can say, you know what, let's stop making shows with these guys. We don't have to go out necessarily to get a studio crafted production. People who make short films. Yeah, no, but I'm saying, but the people who make short films and throw on YouTube.
You do need the big people though. Why? Because that's who the advertisers are going to pay into. They're not going to pay into PewDiePie, but they will pay into a known actor on a television series that's professionally produced, that they know that their their advertising dollars will be seen at. I mean, that's just kind of the.
Okay, all right. Let's give YouTube some free advice right now. Okay, YouTube, go out there, create a festival. Okay, it's an independent creator festival. All right,
they kind of
go out.
It's VidCon. That's called VidCon. They already have it.
Wait. You go out, and the only people you're allowed to apply are up and coming college movie makers. So basically, you're in school and you need an outlet. Yeah, but no one really knows about that. You couple that with a festival. Yeah, you'll be winning. All right, so just go ahead and do that, and you can pay me later.
I mean, there are many content creators who make short sci-fi. I mean, the amount of even the short sci-fi films that I watch on YouTube, the 7-minute sci-fi films clips. There's so many guys who have nice short stories you can pick from. Say, hey, let's make it into a short movie or series or something, and then you can bring your professional producers to help them out, and you grow content that way. But they haven't looked at it that way, and I think you can still do that with YouTube TV, but I don't think their mindset is there. To me, it's not that flow that they want to create, and their framework doesn't allow you to find such sci-fi content or short shows or things that people put out, because YouTube, literally, you go to the homepage, it's the ads for the movie trailers. That's literally the biggest thing now that they do is you go to your homepage on YouTube, it's whatever movie trailer is the hottest today is in front, and not necessarily what you
as I look through YouTube Red right now, there's some exclusive films and stuff from different people, like certain big names, but then outside of really the two biggest people they use, which was PewDiePie, which I really don't understand why they did that, and it made sense to them to use Superwoman. And Lily saying it, that actually made sense for them to premiere that with her, because she's the most sensible. But I look at other people, like there's no cooking shows on here, and there's so many of those cooking girls on there. There's no makeup tutorial type shows on here, and there's so many of those on there. There's looking through.
I think Machinima might run into issues because of other things like copyright. This is one of the big problems with YouTube, is the way that people create content using other people's content. A lot of people, I love it when someone puts like this is a fair use video. No, it's not. Fair use is what you defend yourself in court. Fair use doesn't mean that someone can't come after you if you put a little banner at the beginning of your video.
Here is one guy that should have been supported by them, Rocket Jump. dude makes some really awesome video game style content.
Another one.
And he has a series called Video Game High School, which was on YouTube, but he also put it on Hulu because Hulu actually got the rights for that.
And another one that's pretty good. What's her name? Why can't I think of her name? Anna Akana, because she actually makes some really good small short stories type stuff that would actually really go on her own channel that could fit this what this should be. But I just look through, because I have YouTube Red, because the only reason I have it is because I have Google Play All Access, so it's included in. And I look through a couple of these, and it's just like BuzzFeed video. I don't want to watch that. Awesome Sauce TV, Vsauce, PewDiePie.
Well, you know what? I think what you just mentioned is actually pretty interesting.
That I want to see.
Right. What you just mentioned is interesting because you have YouTube Red because you've had Play all inclusive, right? The same thing with me. I have YouTube Red because I have the Google Play Music.
Yeah.
But I think how you pronounce this? Imagine Saji. So Imagine Saji asks the question is like, do I have to pay $25 extra? So I'm assuming he also has YouTube Red. And he's like, do I have to pay $25 extra for this? Or for the
TV service?
Exactly.
I have a feeling
that the TV service comes included with the Play Music.
I don't think it will. I think they're trying to advertise something different.
If they don't do that, then yes, I agree with you. This is dead on arrival.
Well, and also, Sam, doesn't this really speak to the larger corporate problem that Google or Alphabet has? That
college gamers on here. Who the hell watches that stuff?
Well, that we've got YouTube, we've got Google Play, we've got different types of music streaming services, video streaming services, subscription services, cultivated content from smaller producers, cultivated content from larger producers, and try and tell me what plan would get me streaming music and streaming video between Google and YouTube, and where should I really be sending my money? Now, with so many overlapping Venn diagrammy circles of replicated content, none of it really makes sense to consumers. You know what makes sense to consumers? Apple Music, iTunes, like done. You're done. That's it. You've got your Apple TV, you've got your Apple Music, and you've got iTunes, and you're set. And Google keeps trying to leverage YouTube as some kind of brand that they can take up the chain to bigger, more studio-driven content and try and fight Netflix and Google that way. I mean, Netflix and Hulu that way. Instead, I think they need to be looking at Google Play as being the arm they can leverage for...
People can understand what Google Play is.
Content.
But people understand, like, if you say Play All Access and you really just keep adding to that All Access branding instead of calling something YouTube Red... Instead, just saying Play All Access includes, free ads on, ad free in background, the features that YouTube Red offer. If they advertise through that particular model, I think we'll get a lot more people to adopt to it into trying to just kind of cherry pick and offer us all these different things up there and just confuse the market to the point where, they're doing this like how they do their messenger apps. They're just throwing things out there and just seeing maybe one will stick. Maybe.
You just had to go back to the messenger apps.
Yep, definitely.
Just had to.
Sorry, I was watching Rocket Jump videos. I'm going, these are the people you should get. I can't believe Hulu actually got the rights for this also and threw it on Hulu. It's silly. But anyway, it's YouTube and, they won't listen to us. Anyway, so let's move on with life.
So defeatist.
No,
it's so sad.
It is sad. I mean, granted, YouTube Red, you also get it 6 devices.
I just thought about this. How come Philip DeFranco doesn't have his own specific YouTube Red show on there? And he's like one of the biggest news guys on there and has nothing specific on YouTube Red for that.
It's because YouTube is not doing exactly what we said. You look for the right content creators.
I think
make shows based on that.
Whoever's picking this stuff, I think the people that are working for YouTube that are picking these things are all like the BuzzFeed people. The people that get excited to list and stuff like that and don't know what's in. They just know what's super popular or whatever.
All they're looking at are like view counts and engagement via like shitty comments.
But they're not actually watching the content because, like I said, Philip DeFranco is somebody you pick up, you turn his show similar to The Daily Show. I mean, that's how his show is. You can build it out that way and make it bigger and say, now this is the guy who gives you news. It's going to be funny.
He could easily be a Daily Show type YouTuber. It's very easy for him to pull that off.
You can pick and choose. You can stop picking. You pick, 10 influencers, you do different types, even like people who do cooking shows, for crying out loud, on YouTube. You know, I mean, there's so many things, there's so many influencers you can pick and choose and do this. Just give us the money and we'll run it for you. Again.
All right, so moving on.
All right, so let's talk about the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch launched yesterday. 2 people here have the Switch. I'm talking about Sam and I'm talking about Warren. Do you also have accessories with that too? Because accessories are hard to find for this bad boy.
Well, the only thing that I didn't get any extra accessories out of this. I know the Pro Controller just went back online, available on Amazon. I was debating on getting it, but damn thing, $70.
Yeah.
For it not being anything special. It's not like, you know, when you get Pro Controllers, like when you get the Elite controller from Microsoft, it's $150, which is actually technically cheap in this type of space for them. But everything you get customized with it and the profiles and stuff makes sense that it's $150. This is actually a better value than the $70 Pro Controller, which just allows us to actually use a normal controller that we've been used to since, you know, we were kids playing. Yeah. They want us to spend more on that.
And the problem I think they're going to run into is the Joy-Con dock that you have. It's not bad at all for playing the game.
No, it is.
It's actually pretty comfortable. So
it's actually not bad. I would say I've been playing Zelda with it, and it's not been bad. I would say the Pro Controller would still be a better way to play the game, because there's certain things on it that you have to wrap your head around where your hands are to understand how the controls work. But if you use the Pro Controller, it goes more to N64 style playing, which is what they've based every big Zelda on really since then. Yeah, which this is the same thing, but
and the button placement's a little funky on there.
Initial thoughts. I'll start with you, Sam, of the console.
Dude, it's pretty good. It is actually pretty good because I know I tried. So what I tried yesterday was to basically do the whole transition from playing in the living room to playing in. To playing like basically away from my TV. So I was about to go to bed yesterday. I'm like, you know what? I'll take and play like a couple, like, 10, 20 minutes before I go to bed. So I take the device there, forget that it's even on, and just leave it on my side table. Wake up this morning, I think it's at like 70-something%. It's like it only dropped 1% between when I played it and when I picked it up in the morning. So I think that alone to me says you can actually have some decent playtime on there, because no one's going to sit down and play like 3 hours in a row unless they have a huge amount of time. And at that point, you're going to be playing it in your living room because you want to be comfortable. So I think this is the handheld gaming system that a lot of people probably have been waiting for, because I was actually very impressed with the battery life.
You heard it first, guys. Sam was impressed.
Sam liked it.
I actually did.
Nice. All
right, Warren, how about you?
For first impression with it, it's pretty cool. It's definitely a mobile handheld console, which I think their marketing isn't really making this clear that's kind of what it is. With a dock that just kind of transfers it to a TV, which it actually plays well. The software is really nice on it. I think it's based on FreeBSD, so this thing will probably be hacked in no time. In terms of whenever you get it will very fast. But the software is actually simplified, really easy. It's very fast to boot up. Games are very fast as well too. I've been playing Zelda on it, both on the TV and then taking it out and using different, kickstand configurations, to putting the Joy-Cons on the side, to just kind of using the Joy-Con control. I actually freestarted once, didn't even use the Joy-Con controllers, just had them in my hand without the actual grip with it. Mm-hmm. And that actually I was able to play Zelda with it as well too, and actually played pretty decently. Overall, it does what it says that it does. It's kind of the hybrid of a portable console and being able to play on the the TV as well too. So it accomplishes that. I think the only thing that they may need to make a couple tweaks within the software, I would say, which will come down the road. And I would say, just realistically, I would just say advertise is a little bit better than what they kind of are now. They need to say this thing's a mobile console, because that's what it is. Yeah, if they keep trying to push this as a standard gaming console, it does not compete well against PS4 and Xbox One. It just doesn't compete.
And I think the telling thing is the Zelda game is a cell shaded game.
Yeah, cell shaded game that still has frame rate issues.
Yeah, exactly. So
trust me, you hit the frame rate issues within the first 5 minutes of a game. You see it. After that, it hasn't been so bad, but like the first 5 minutes, yeah. I think the selling point of the Switch is going to be its software and what games they design around it that can work both mobile and console and do a good job of being able to balance between both. Zelda's a very good game so far, being able to do that, and I think other similar games like that, I would say so. Someone just actually to replace the DS. The DS is such a different concept. That's a dual screen gaming console that games can use both screens to give you a unique experience. Versus this is just a flat out full console that's in your hand. That's the best way to put it. It's a mobile console versus a portable. It's not the same thing as a DS. It's just not the exact same. It's not the same thing.
All right. So here's the question: did you buy Warren? Did you buy Zelda physical or download?
Physical.
And I know Sam, you downloaded.
Yeah.
I know both of you haven't seen either one, but what are your load times, Sam? I mean, are they fast?
Mine might have been fast.
I don't have issues with load time at all.
I was just checking just to see what it was.
No, I don't at all. The only reason I bought it physical is because Amazon gives me a discount to do so because I'm a Prime subscriber.
I know.
Until this goes to all, this is a uselessness that will ever be useless until these stupid gaming companies get this. Stop overcharging me to download a damn game.
Yeah.
F you on that.
Seriously, I ordered mine on Amazon, but Amazon wasn't delivering mine yesterday for some weird reason, so I just canceled that. And
I got a text. Mine will arrive at 8 p.m. tonight.
Woohoo! Oh, somebody brought this up. The Sega Nomad. In the Game Gear, this is exactly This is kind of what
it feels like the Game Gear. That's exactly what I was trying to think. What it was. Feel like the Game Gear.
Like the Game Gear.
Doesn't it look a little like the OG Atari Lynx? The way that the
sort
of like spread wide.
Yes. It's Nintendo is accomplishing what Sega was trying to do way too early. Yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of things that Nintendo has done now, which is things that they've done over time. Sega was kind of the ones jumping on a lot of this stuff early. They were already, trying to do a lot of these things that we're seeing now happening very, very early. And it was just the technology wasn't there for that. So people at Sega got to be kicking themselves.
Yeah.
I love that boy.
That thing looks like
the shit. That thing looks so the shit for me.
That thing looks so terrible though. That Lynx. It looks so much like the Nokia Taco phone. The N-Gage.
Oh, the
N-Gage. I remember I went to E3 and had N-Gage arenas. There was an N-Gage arena.
Yeah. All right. So
playing Sonic, of course.
Both of you like it so far. Nintendo doesn't have any online features yet. Because I mean, the game I would love to play with everyone is Mario Kart. To me.
Yeah. I think that's the one everybody's waiting for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe to drop.
Yeah, that's the one where and
I think that's gonna be one of their top sellers.
We should do this. CES 2018, we should all come with our Switches and we should all do just a live gaming session, sit down and play with this.
I like it.
Mario Kart.
Well, plenty of time.
We have to find a different game. I suck at racing games.
I'm in favor of that because Sam sucks at racing games.
Mario Kart, I could do that. That'd be pretty cool.
I mean,
we could do it sooner if some of us are going to E3 this year. We could always do it a little bit sooner. That'd be the key place to do it. Yeah. Maybe next week at PAX, a lot of us can get together and play. No, there's no damn game we can play unless we're going to play Splatoon.
Let's go and play Splatoon.
Oh my God! Yeah, someone was mentioning Kai Rogels was mentioning the Game Gear. Let's put it this way: if you ever want to know how to get through 6 AA batteries in one day, play the Game Gear.
No, so the Game Gear was hilarious because as the batteries would drain, you'd be thinking like, oh, well, let me just plug in the AC adapter, which would then reset the unit. It couldn't handle a power switch from batteries to AC. And so I felt terrible. The first time my brother was about to beat the Jurassic Park game, on the Game Gear. He was running out of battery, and like, I'm almost done. He's like, you're not gonna make it. Plug it in, and he plugged it in, and the game reset on him. Start all over. You're like, oh no. I mean, like, that wasn't even like me going ha ha as a brother. Like, the pain and anguish of having been in similar situations.
Gaming back then with no save points and
save points. You had to, like, from the very beginning, you had to beat it all from
cheat code. Yeah, codes.
Sam understood it quite well. Like, for me growing up, it was about gaming till before you run out of power, before they take the power in your house. So you're going, usually you take power off by 4 o'clock. Can I get to the last boss by 3:30? Because it's done.
Oh man. And the thing is, if you had a generator where you lived, you're really happy for the really, really, really unbearably hot days, because that's when your parents are like, we'll put on the generator for the air conditioner. And you're like, yes.
No, but then you have the power fluctuation. You're like, what else is on in the house? They're like, nothing else.
Oh god.
That's how we grew up gaming.
But you know what? With the save points, this is one thing I should mention about the save points, right? When I held that the Switch in my hands, right, and I'm playing Zelda, before I dropped it for the night, the first thing I thought about was like, have I saved it? Like, you don't need to save. You don't need
auto-save.
There is a save button, save feature.
Yeah, there is.
I had to find, because I was thinking the same. Where the hell do I save this? I don't want to do this over again. Because the game kind of you just start. Like, the game is literally like an NES game. When you first plug it in, it just goes. You just start in the adventure. That's just it.
That's cool.
Look at that.
All right, let's move on to some other news. Nvidia announced the GTX 1080Ti this week, which is going to be a powerful card. 11 gigabytes of DDR5 RAM, pricing $699. The price of the regular 1080 drops to $400, and this
in stock.
That's the thing. Pre-orders went on March 2nd. I don't know what the release date is specifically, but this will compete now well against last year's Titan X, not this year's Titan X though, but last year's Titan X in terms of performance, and it looks like a solid card all around. So, any thoughts, Sam? I know you're a TI guy.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the TI, and it looks as though they haven't learned their lesson with the. No. Realistically, I was thinking it was actually going to be cheaper because of the AMD announcements. I was thinking the TI was going to be cheaper, but this is around the same price as the TI's prior years.
Yeah.
It's been around that $699 price point. So I was really hoping to see maybe $100 fall off, which would make this card even like a killer. Because the TI cards, I always like the tune-up they do for the TI cards. But overall, I'm probably still going to get a couple of these anyway, because I need to upgrade my 980s. But I was really hoping that this was cheaper.
Okay. The one, well,
sorry, I just want to jump in. Sorry, Sam. Like the price performance ratio right here, you don't think that this is a solid deal? You think it should have come in?
No, dude, it's a solid deal. But then it's like when you finally have real competition, then you need to compete in a little bit more.
Okay, I'll put it this way, because I think this is AMD's year, unless they truly fuck it up, because Intel's already dropped price of the 7770K. Just to compete with Ryzen, which still hasn't launched. Just pre-orders have gone out.
And a few of those like demo CPUs are starting to make it out in people's hands now.
And also, there's been also reports of Nvidia reaching out to reviewers saying, before you drop your Ryzen or Ryzen review, give us a call. So they know what's going on,
which is illegal.
They know what's going on. Out there. Like I said, there's been reports. I don't know if it's confirmed or not, but they know what's going on, and they know that they have competition, right? So to bring out a card like the TI, still keeping the same price point as last year, to me says they're thinking that the TI is, from a performance ratio, the TI performs beautifully, but from a competition point of view, they should have at least knocked $50 to $100 off of it to make it.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah, because I mean they are market leaders and they own 70% of that market. But I'm not saying that AMD is going to chew up like a huge amount or anything, but to just ensure that you maintain that lead, they can easily afford to take $100 off that and say, yeah, here's the TI now. It's only
Well, but I guess the thing I was asking is what pressure does the TI face with any products out on the market now? Because I understand with Intel CPUs, like Ryzen is gonna be a big deal. You want to get consumers money now before those pre-orders really start going out. Is there a graphics card that's really given the TI a run for its money?
I mean, there's none because AMD's Vega isn't coming out till Computex.
I was gonna say I thought it was later.
Computex Type A, so that's only when that will showcase. So I mean, to your point, Juan, Nvidia doesn't need to do anything until that is announced and
it's getting closer.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, we're doing a price
because what I thought like was not interesting about this launch. I've caught myself on that one, and they're like, yeah, screw it. Let's go ahead and say the word anyway. No, what I thought the timing on this was appropriate is you get the buzz of putting out the TI. I think the price point is reasonable now for that bang to buck, and then that gives them a window where they're getting a higher profit margin. AMD announces their solution, and then you have room to undercut.
Yeah.
After that point, so I mean, if you're buying now, that you're probably going to be looking at price cuts once AMD announces their solution. If you're buying now, it's because you want to have the biggest, baddest on the block. I'm waiting until AMD announces their solution, and I'm probably going to leave Nvidia and go with whatever AMD has to offer.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my TIs because it's been proven. It's been proven over several systems.
I'll wait until I see how the drivers are. I'll wait to see how the drivers are for AMD.
I'm doing less hardcore gaming for my PC, more video rendering. The editing stuff that I'm using supports OpenGL well enough. I don't see any specific need to stick with one platform or another.
Yeah, makes more sense. So yeah. So, all right, that's all she wrote for the 1080 Ti. Moving to something that might be interesting for Mr. Juan Bagnell. T-Mobile is adding a third line for free.
Didn't they add one already this week? Didn't they? Wasn't it two? Then how does it three?
Yeah.
Let's make a deal.
Yeah. So T-Mobile this week.
Monty Hall around the curtain.
They've thrown a lot of things out on the table now. So
do they even know what their plans are anymore?
I mean, so now you can get a third line for free on T-Mobile.
Come with a bag of chips.
Also, if you switch from another carrier, you get a new iPhone for free, iPhone 7. T-Mobile is just it's like they're throwing stuff and they're like, just take whatever you want. Take whatever you want.
I didn't really expect them to be scrambling this hard, but man, did Verizon throw the entire industry for a loop. I think they completely underestimated the market pressure of a Verizon executing something like that.
Yeah.
They called the bluff until the bluff wasn't called no more.
Yeah.
So basically, this would mean they're now offering 3 lines for $66, which is pretty cheap, right? Because I think it's $33 a line right now, isn't it?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cheap. That's significantly lower than what Verizon is offering.
So, T-Mobile is doing what they can. Anything else before we move on? I just want to.
I don't know. Should we try to guess what T-Mobile's deal will be next week?
No.
No.
Let us move on.
Oh, actually, sorry. It's $33 a line, making it $99. So it's still it's quite cheaper than what Verizon is doing. Verizon is going to be about $50 a line at that point. So it's still about like $17 difference there. So not too bad.
Yeah,
not bad at all. I mean, especially if you were already shopping service on T-Mobile. Again, I just wonder, how do these gimmicks play out in the long run? If you were a consumer, you wanted 3 lines, you saw this deal, you jumped on, and then at any point you change your plan, that's gonna radically affect this deal. You know what I mean? Like if you add a line later on after this promo is expired, you have to pay for 4 lines. If you want to get rid of a line, you're paying the same for less. I wonder how consumers will respond to these things later after something has changed in their life and they need to make an adjustment.
Just a new deal will come out. This is getting to be like the cable companies. Just call and get a new deal once the first deal runs out.
Right.
That's all they're gonna do. They'll just get, oh, this is this week's deal. Oh, we have some special for you. It's like calling into your credit card company and looking for a new interest rate or a product change in your card. We have this new deal for you.
Right.
Really? It's been here since when?
All right, let's move on to something that's a little bit more troublesome. And this should have been the uselessness of the week, but I totally forgot. It looks like the FCC is pretty much cleared for AT&T to own HBO, Batman, Superman, and everything that is Time Warner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they got a fair thing. Disney owns everything else, so
Disney bought private companies. That was the difference.
Disney, it's still conglomerate. It's big as hell. Like that still should have not been allowed.
No, doesn't matter. It's a private company. Disney bought Lucas private, Marvel was private, and that's fine. That is completely fine. Nobody went in to buy those private companies. Warner Brothers was smart, or AT&T, they should have bought Lucas. Sure. I'm just saying that it's private.
To me, the issue here is I think we're seeing a course correction for AT&T, and the decision to buy Dish. I think that's not working out as well for them as they thought. Really if you replace that Dish, DirecTV, sorry, if you replace that DirecTV app on the phones now with a Time Warner app, that actually could sell phones for them.
Well, I think that's just going to combine. They're going to combine that with it.
You're going to buy Sling and no. Do they own Sling or no? No.
Sling is Dish.
Sorry, Dish. Right. So they own the DirecTV. They're going to combine it. It's going to be combined where you will get HBO, you will get Time Warner movies and all that kind of stuff all there in one. But yeah, it looks like, and so I'm just waiting for Disney to buy T-Mobile or Sprint or whatever. I mean, at this point.
I don't think they'll do that. I don't think that's something that they're going to bust out and go and buy an actual mobile carrier. I don't think that's something Disney wants. Because remember, all the carriers are going to buy content. They're not going to buy services and pipes.
Yeah, and Disney's making quite a killing right now. Although they they probably will be renegotiating the price with Netflix. They're making a killing licensing stuff to Netflix right now.
What I think they're in plan for to do is eventually, as they're getting Spider-Man and all those back, eventually they're going to try and buy Sony's movie property. They're going to try. They're going to try and take, and Sony needs money. I'm telling you, that mouse does not do anything without some strategy behind taking it over. They do not do anything.
That is too much of a catalog for.
Let that Spider-Man Homecoming do this. 2 years later. Marvel Studios they'll use Marvel. Marvel Studios buys Sony Studios for X amount of dollars. That's what they'll do.
That'd be too much. That is too much for one.
So what would you say is there any concerns about like antitrust or just monopoly concerns with this?
Yeah, there are. The FCC sounds like they're going to stand aside, but until we have lawmakers in place and there are a number of Trump appointments that haven't been fulfilled, that the deal could still actually be held because of that. It just depends on when this stuff really starts making it through the vetting process outside of the FCC.
So the one thing that I will mention that is a very weird caveat that might not have this deal happen, all depending on how long, this presidency and transition and political climate, is that Time Warner owns CNN.
Yeah.
CNN is not in favor with the president does not like CNN. That's just pure public knowledge.
No, I don't think that's going to play. I hope that does not play.
What?
Please. I hope it doesn't play.
And there was reports of Jared Kushner calling in the head of CNN to answer to some of the unfavorable, statements that have been made by some of the pundits and some of their announcers, and had mentioned this deal that was going to go between AT&T and Time Warner.
If they scuttle the deal, this would be very bad for the administration. If they scuttle the deal,
just saying
that would just be really silly.
No, but they can scuttle the deal with many points that we can pull out and say, there's a lot of issues with not antitrust, but
they could probably make it difficult for them. But the only thing I see happening is if there's still any AT&T landlines and Time Warner landlines, they would probably have to sell off.
No, they will probably. No, this is not Time Warner. This has nothing to do with Time Warner Cable. That's a separate company. This has no remember.
This is just the entertainment.
Yeah, this is entertainment side. They might tell Time Warner to cut off HBO, which would they do not want to do.
Yeah. No, I think what we'll see instead are all of the other. So I mean, like one of the things in one of the articles that you linked to was them getting rid of other media holdings like small and local TV channels and stuff like that to satisfy keeping the Time Warner catalog under one umbrella. Yeah. So they own, it's not WGBH, but it's a television station like WGBH. Yeah. And they've already announced they're going to be selling that off. And you're like, neat. So you can get HBO and the entire Time Warner catalog. You're going to sell off one local market TV channel. Yeah. Awesome. But I think that might be enough. That might be all they need to do to really, sort of satisfy what's going on with this.
Yeah, no, maybe. Other quick news here. Spotify's hit 50% subscribers, growth of 67% in the year. So wow, that's been more than doubled from last year.
Is it paid subscribers?
That's a good question.
I don't know.
It's funny because that's accurate.
We told you Spotify struck 30 million users who were paying for its premium service as of March of last year. So that was the numbers from last year, which is not bad. That number grew to 40 million in September. So 10 million people joined the paid service. And this week, they announced that has gone to 50 million paid subscribers. So,
oh, wow. That's good.
So which means they have more than 50 million subscribers in total then, all the free guys who jump on.
Mm-hmm. Well, technically, anybody that signs up for an account is a free person on there. Whether they use it or not, more versus active would be the question on that. So I think the more important number is they got 50 million people that are actively paying, which is the more important thing, which is a good thing for all streaming services. I'm not the biggest fan of Spotify, but I like the fact that if they're continuing to do well, that allows things like Google Play All Access to exist and continue well, and other services might come around as well too. So,
all right. So the last topic before we end.
Someone's screen went black.
I'm showing my screen. It's,
can't hear you.
Can you hear me? Hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sam must be having issues. This is Galaxy S8 in all its glory. It's right there.
Hey, look at that. It's a phone.
Yeah. This was leaked by EV Leaks, I think on Tuesday or Wednesday. And Samsung might want to just, have the event like now instead of March 29th, I think.
Yeah, I've got to fly out to New York for that.
Woo!
Yay.
That seriously, I think I texted you this, and I still believe highly that this is finally Samsung out-appling Apple. Look at no buttons on that thing, man. On the front of that thing, that's just beautiful. That's like,
man, it would be really nice if Hangouts would stop kicking me out.
He's like, no,
out of here, no.
So let's hurry and talk about this before it bounces me again.
Yeah. So I do agree. This is Samsung getting to that, point where this is Apple's dream. Let's just be fair, right? No buttons on
this is Steve Jobs' dream.
Oh no! Although there are 3 buttons on this, 4 buttons on this device if you want to count volume up, volume down. This camera button, I guess, or whatever this action button is.
I think it'll be an action button like we see on the Active. I think.
Yeah, and then of course your power button, and then the fingerprint sensor in the most awkward position possible.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not happy about that. And I love rear-mounted fingerprint sensors. And
to me, it's almost like they took a beautiful thing and they went, "Let's just put a little blemish here."
But you know what they say about a girl who's a 10. You probably want to get a girl who's an 8. So this is a perfect 8 then. This is a perfect 8.
Really?
It's a perfect.
Then we all get in the hand and they use a sensor like this. Makes sense now.
You're already playing the apologist game on this? You haven't even held it yet?
I'm just gonna put it this way. I saw this device and the only thing I could think about was this is one sexy device. Okay. I am actually really sold on this. Just on the picture alone, I'm really sold on it. But let's get it in our hands and then I'll be able to give you.
You're weird.
Hey, I am very weird. I am quite weird. But then again, hey, I'm the guy who did the what was it, like a 10 minutes video on Samsung progression from the S2. So I've had a bunch of Samsung phones, and I really think Samsung improves with every iteration that it puts out there. And to me, this is just, the culmination of years and years of work for Samsung finally coming together to provide a device that's just beautiful.
Well, yeah, I would say, you know, from the Galaxy S6 to now, I think what we're seeing is the full realization of that design language.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's not like, say, that Samsung hasn't had some experimental missteps like the Galaxy S5. But this really seems like the S6 got them on a track where they could evolve, and now we're getting to that point where this is the realization of that investment.
Definitely. Oh, I forgot one more thing, one more news segment, which was actually on the list. There was rumblings that the iPhone would be getting USB Type-C. Everyone was like, yes!
Nope.
But no. So what it is they will still be the wonderful Lightning port, which means you have to get a brand new cable again. And at the other end, there will be USB Type-C.
So in other words, Apple finally realized that they have a laptop that has a USB Type-C in there. So you can now use your phone with that laptop. Aren't you happy?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic.
This is so useful.
This is maybe the happiest I've ever been. Apple figuring out a fucking cable strategy. I'm sorry, I've been swearing a lot on your podcast. I didn't mean to drop another F-bomb like that.
That's right, Professor X. Go ahead.
I apologize.
Sorry, since I watched Logan, Professor X was dropping F-bombs left and right.
Oh God, yeah. That was actually surprising. I actually was very surprised at that.
Yeah, so it's going to be a while before you actually get USB Type-C on your iPhone. You would think this would be the perfect time because it's number 10, right? You can change everything on the iPhone, and it's logical. It makes sense. It's number 10. You can reset it, and no one will complain because this is the 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
But if this holds true, by the way, if it holds true, which most likely it will, it's going to be Lightning to USB Type-C. So,
yeah, well, I mean, but really that makes sense in Apple trying to figure out their product ecosystem, their accessories ecosystem. If their computers are going to be moving over to USB-C ports, then the cables should too.
No. It doesn't make, I mean, it only makes sense if you had USB port on your iPhone too. I'm sorry, this is like a stopgap in the worst way.
No. I think everything should be. I agree with you. Everything should terminate in a USB-C cabling. But this is Apple, and they make way too much money off of licensing the Lightning connector, so they weren't going to get rid of it. But knowing that you have to buy an adapter or buy a different cable when you pull your iPhone out of the box to work with your new MacBook, that was silly. So this is their concession, is they're going to switch that cable over. And if you have an older legacy USB port, welcome to adapter land.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yes. And that's pretty much it, guys. Anything else we missed this week?
Let's talk about that. What's it called? The Oculus Rift. It's slashing $200. That's a hefty sale there. $200 from the overall price.
Yeah, they did slash the price. I know there are going to be a couple of big announcements from all of them come E3. Oculus has their motion glove that they've been working on. Vive is looking at a low-cost head-mounted Vive that will give you that's maybe slightly higher price than what you get with, say, Google's VR option. Qualcomm, even though they're not going to make it, just trying to find partners for this, I think, has their 835 powered VR headset that does motion tracking without any gloves whatsoever. I haven't tried it out yet, but it actually does tracking of your hands and movements, and also does depth perception at the same time. So there's no need for external cameras like that one behind me right there.
Yeah. So do you think this is in lieu of a refresh to the Rift?
Yeah, I think it's in lieu of a refresh to the Rift. I think that 200 price drop is in lieu, and also, market competition with the Rift, with PlayStation. PlayStation VR, by the way, is sold 1 million. So that's the market leader right now. But Sony hasn't done anything else. I mean, it's a PlayStation device, so which means it would sell. But in terms of what Sony's pushing to it,
it's also the cheapest of VR that you can get into too.
Yeah, cheapest of the higher end VR,
especially if you can already get it if you already have a PS4.
PS4, yeah. So that's the thing. And then, speaking of VR, Microsoft released its mixed reality kit with Acer this week to developers, and they said the Scorpio will support it. That will begin early 2018 after Scorpio launches. So they too are also making their push with that. Mixed reality being it will be both holographic, AR and VR at the same time. No, I was going to say holographic, but that's just bullshit.
Not according to Tupac and Michael Jackson.
That's not even really a hologram. Let's just leave that alone.
Yeah. So it looks like there'll be some interesting updates to VR. What will Apple do with AR? We don't know. What will Google do with Google Glass and all that kind of stuff? We have no idea. What will Microsoft do in 2019 with the HoloLens?
Nobody cares.
We don't know. But at least the benefit the only good thing is that at least now they're doing some of the things we told them to do, is that they're pushing it with their OEMs, with Acer and all these guys pushing that out there. So Microsoft 10% check would be very nice. Give you one next week.
I mean, a Microsoft 1% check.
That would be very nice.
Very nice.
I mean, setting my sights on something ridiculously realistic is, a 1% check would still be like fine.
Yeah, if you do that, we have lots of fresh advice. Just boil it up right here.
Right.
Anyway, guys, on that note, we want to say thank you, and we move to, of course, the last word of the day, coming to you from Warren from BW1.com. So, Warren, go ahead.
Stay switchy, my friends.
Really? That's the catchphrase? Stay switchy? No.
Really?
No.
Deal with it. And awkward silence.
All right. So from that point, we move on to Mr. Juan Bagnell. I wanted to ask you, usually, what do you have on the channel right now? What can we expect from you at Pocket Now? And also some gadget guy I know that hasn't had an update in a few.
Oh, no, good sir. So the Pocket Now channel, we've got all of our MWC coverage, obviously. I don't have it handy. I accidentally left it downstairs, but I did a daily vlog. I missed the last day trying to get to the airport, unfortunately, so I missed a video. But I did a daily vlog using the Insta360 Air. It's a little USB-C camera that plugs into the bottom of an Android phone, and it's a 360-degree camera. And so I shared some of my exploits, behind-the-scenes stuff in Barcelona on the Gadget Guy channel, just talking about some of my experiences. If you want to know how I kind of got screwed at the Huawei event, you can hear about that in a beautiful Barcelona location. As I'm getting cranky and I'd been on my feet for 4 hours and hadn't eaten anything all day, I was pretty hangry. So coming up for the Pocket Now channel, we've got we're going to have all of our sort of review coverage for the G6 and the P10. We're going to be digging into those two phones pretty hard. I'm going to be trying to supplement that with some other accessories reviews. We're getting into some like networking and security stuff, so hopefully we can get that live on the Pocket Now channel. And then also I want to come back to the story that I've started putting together on hearing health. And so hopefully that'll be live, not next week, but the week following.
All right, cool. Anything from you, Sam? Sam dropped an unboxing of the Nintendo Switch yesterday, which I did
allegedly.
Well, I mean, he unboxed it. I did a narration with a couple of beers in me and sadness of not having my Switch. So
the sadness was very evident. You can hear the sadness. You can hear the sadness.
No Switch sadness.
So that is up on the channel. But anything else from you, Sam?
No, not really, right? We had the Braggy headset was on there. The headphones.
The headphones, yeah. On my end, I have another PC build with the 7700K, which I was supposed to drop last week, but I had to reinstall Windows. I don't know why. Everything just stopped working. So I had to do a fresh reinstall. Okay. I also have the LG 38-inch monitor right in front of me, which I have to do a review.
28.
38-inch.
38. Holy Lord.
Do I reach both ends?
Yeah. No, it's just this big. It's really not like
that's amazing.
Also have the 4K webcam. Finally done with that, and I'll have my review up for that, as well as I might have another 38-inch monitor again next week. How much time I can put into that for you guys, and then we will have Alex will have the P10 review coming up. That definitely will jump up, and the G6. Some more coverage. I don't think I can do a review yet, but I'm not exactly.
No, we can't. We can't do a review yet. Let's not get into that thing.
Yeah. So anyway, that will be up. So there'll be a lot of videos. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, these bad boys here. Some headphones. I have those headphones. Yeah,
those look fancy.
These are the Nighthawks.
The Nighthawks.
You're fancy.
Look at that. Is that a crime fighting headphone?
Well, it's an expensive headphone. Definitely not crime
crime fighting headphones.
Yeah, so those will be up next week. And oh shit, I forgot. The things I have to put up are literally this: the 7700K, this camera, the A6500, the headphones. The rest may or may not come. So we will see.
You are hot bag useless.
So just stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And some Switch stuff. If it actually comes tonight.
Some switchiness.
All right, guys. On that note, I want to say thank you very much to everyone for chiming into the chat. And also, if you're watching later, you can leave your comments down below. And I do apologize.
Getting into Switch time. Come on.
I do apologize. I've not updated the podcast the last 2 weeks, so expect to see 3 shows up probably by tomorrow for the podcast on Google Play. There's a link down there below. We will be adding Apple podcasts next week, so stay tuned for that as well. If you're an iPhone user, I don't think we have any iPhone fans here, but we thank you for joining us. And
I'm sure there's got to be a few.
Yeah, I'm sure
your phone sucks.
Wow, Warren, that's not how.
They're gone.
Exactly. All right, guys. I want to say thank you very much. Check out all the channels. Mr. Juan Bagnell from Pocket Now. You can catch him there, and also follow him on Twitter. It is Some Gadget Guy, and Mr. Warren Bowman from BW1.com, who is still playing Zelda. That is his handle, Twitter name, YouTube. Follow him at BW1.com, and Sam, aka Black Iron _man, whose bell will be ringing anytime soon. So you can go get a haircut. Whoa. Okay.
Wow.
Postponed it till Monday.
And of course, it's Booredatwork here on YouTube and Twitter. Thunder E saying thank you and always enjoy your entertainment.
What was that?